All right, guys, check this out. We're at the storage unit right now. Earlier this afternoon, I had an accident on the E-skate. It went full rogue. Somehow it got a full throttle signal. It literally started accelerating. I knew it wasn't me. I went to hit the brakes. There was no response. I said, fuck this. I jumped off, and the board literally took off and slammed into the back of some car. Probably hit the tire. It ricocheted off. It is in fucking shambles. It totally exploded. So we're gonna look at it. I basically picked up all the parts. I'm gonna roll some video here for you shortly, but we're also going to look at the damage to the board right now and kind of assess what's going on. I think the majority of it is salvageable, which is the good news. The bad news is that I got to build another board. Good news, I already have one board completed, ready to ride, because I was rebuilding my street carver with the Thane. So it looks like I'm probably going to be on Thane for a month or two until I figure out a new deck and a case. But let's look at the board right now. All right, so here's the carnage. Both of the trucks split off of the front and the back, which is super interesting. And then the deck over here just looks fucking shattered. Ripped right here. All of the phase wires appear to be in pretty good shape. And let me zoom in a little bit. All of the phase wires seem to be in pretty good shape, so all the motors disconnected as they came out, which is kind of good. Looks like the sensor wires are toast. I'm going to need a few sensor wires. The headlights, they still work. The headlight and the tail light, the connection is still good, although this tail light is toast. It's broken right here now, so I mean, it's still usable, but I mean, they're pretty cheap. I'll get a new one. I'll just save the wiring. The case, it actually did pretty well, except I feel like there's a little bit of a crack right here up in this corner, which is not terrible because it was pretty thick ABS and it has a thick seal underneath, so probably a little epoxy would be fine here. There's a crack here in the front. And then I don't see anything else on the other sides over here. So everything turned out pretty well. New bracket's going to be needed. The bracket for the headlight ripped off, obviously. If we flip the deck over, you can see what happened where it ripped out. Super interesting. The front nose, that's just toast. But let's come over here and look at this part. So here's the head of the board. This thing is just super jacked up. These X braces are amazing. These things have seen way too many accidents, so I highly recommend them. They will protect your deck, especially when you flip it over. This axle is totally bent. This would be my left side front tire. Totally bent. I don't know if there's any issue. There's still air in this tire, so it feels fine. I'm assuming that the axle is bent, but I won't know until I break this down later in the week. If you look right here, you can see that there's a little bit of rubber that got chipped, maybe when it banged and something in the pressure or something with the rim chewed into this. But the other tire, the left side, seems to be fine. Okay, so that's good. And maybe if this is a rim is still okay, we'll be using that if there's no wobbles once I remount them, whenever that might be. And then back here on the back end actually looks in somewhat decent shape. This is my left side tire over here. The belt snapped. I think obviously the motor mounts are out of alignment. I'm going to say that this one here, which would be my right side, I think. Yeah, it'd be my right side motor mount. I actually think it is tweaked and bent over here. But that very well could be the axle, but I think it's the motor. I think this motor over here, there might be a broken magnet inside the can. So if I can repair the magnet, I'll try and epoxy it in or something and see what happens. But I might need a new motor. If the trucks aren't fucked, then it's just the motor mount, which is okay, but otherwise it seems like this motor itself is in good shape. And then let's take a look at the top part, where it all ripped out into carnage. And there we go. I got the belt out. Okay, so yeah, this is crazy. But everything, if you look down here in the barrel, look, all the phase wires are still connected for that side. And then down here, the phase wires are okay over here, so it's a sad day. So if you haven't seen the video yet, I'm gonna roll that video for you now of what happened with today's accident. Dead! Dead! No! Fucking my dreams are over. Dead!
584 DHA.
You didn't hit me. I had a full throttle acceleration.
Yeah, that sucks, dude.
It's terrible. Dead! Fucking dead. What the fuck? My life's over. Alright, what's up friends? So I finally made it home. I've got a couple of the parts right down here. I was actually able to get the trucks home. That's basically what half of the board feels like, because that was probably 15 pounds, if not 20-ish, 15 pounds of weight right there between trucks, wheels, and two motors. So I'm going to start the disassembly process on some of this just to see if the rims are messed up, see what I can salvage. I'm not going to be able to get everything done today, like pulling the bell off of the motor and seeing if it's a chip magnet or whatever, but let's get to work and see what's jacked and what's salvageable. We're gonna get all kumbaya on the floor right here. Let's start up here with contestant number 1. We got the tweaked out axle. It's really interesting because if you look at this is the front of the board, this is the back of the board. So it looks like obviously this thing took off going forward and it probably clipped the car, which bent the axles, making the board rotate to the left. And then this motor mount, I don't know which motor mount looks tweaked, if it's the right or the left. I think it's the left side. This one right here on the right. It must have spun out and then maybe it hit this other mount, which is why it's tweaked. Or maybe it could just very well be the axle, but I don't know. We'll see what's happening here. This tire, it appears to be spinning fairly good. No major wobble. We'll take this one off first, make that nice and easy. And here, let's take a look at this bad boy. Hopefully it'll slide right off the axle, because if it's stuck, that's not going to be very nice either. I can't even get that axle nut to twist. There we go. Moment of truth. Will it come loose? Maybe. It's in there pretty good. I wonder if I can kind of bend the axle back within the bearings. Stand on it to get a little bit of leverage here, right? A little elbow grease. Bearing looks fucked up inside here, which is natural, so that's okay. There we go. So, the rim, some of the aluminum, so that's not even a word. So the bearing, Schottky. So you can see, I don't know if you can see that here. Yeah, it looks about right. The rim probably it looks still usable to me. Obviously I need some new bearings. The little bumper that's in here has a little indentation to it as well. But on this side out here it's okay. As I mentioned in the other video, there was a little chip here. But let's see how let's use the good side of this to see how it spins. Definitely got a wobble. And that could just very well be the bearing all tweaked out. I don't know. I'm going to have to disassemble this rim and see what happens. Definitely has a funky little wobble. So, I don't know. We're going to have to play with that and then see what happens. Maybe it's salvageable. Maybe it's not. This, I don't know, but that kind of sucks. Okay, but done. Tweaked hard. Yeah, I don't know if you can see how good that is. But hanger is dead, but the base plate's still good. And since this was the front, I'll still save this. I'll save the base plate and the riser and all that great stuff. Okay, no big deal. This one has a little bit of a wobble, but nothing too crazy. We'll take this off. So, I mean, it looks fine otherwise. I mean, it always didn't have a perfect spin, but we'll assume that it's good. These are still decent spin still. So this tire still seems good overall. Just needs a little bit of a cleanup. There's some dust and dirt. We got the mount loose. Motor's here. This I'm gonna have to take downstairs to try and get a little bit, use my spring clips to get things off. Ooh. Look at this. Look at this. Here's the sound. I don't know if you can see this inside. There's a screw, and that's probably the screw. Let me see if I can get closer. And we get in there. So the motor might be fine. Right there. Do you see the screw inside the can right there? Let's see. And there it is. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We've got a screw loose. So this was the screw that probably came out of my taillight. And quiet. That means I don't need a new motor. That's super, really good news. Okay, so now let's take a look at the mount. If the mount's the only thing that's busted, then that's even better because I've already got one. Right, so now that I've got this one off, definitely looks like the mount is tweaked. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it from your line of sight there, but it's definitely off. So that's trash. I wonder if I could just bang it flat again, but who cares? I've got another one. Bearings seem to be good. The little wheels are here. The bolts for these ones are fine. Motor itself in good shape. I'm either gonna have to get a little end for the sensor wire and fix that, even though it looks like I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 wires now instead of 5 or 6. I think there's supposed to be 6. But so that's not too bad. This one, flat and straight. I've already got a replacement for it. This one, garbage. We'll break that down. I think the hanger and axles are still fine, but I can't quite tell. I won't know until I mount everything back up and see, but this is still, so far, this whole rear hanger looks salvageable. It was just the motor that got tweaked, but like I said, I won't know until I mount everything back up. But that's not too bad. So I'm gonna finish breaking the rest of this down, and then when I get the main body of the board, we'll take a look at that as well. Check out the battery, check out the ESC, but it definitely turns on. I can still connect via Bluetooth to the Unity, and it was still getting signal response. So even though that fucking receiver fucked me up, if it's the receiver, that all seems to be working pretty well. So I basically have the replacement for the mount here. I need to check out this other rim over here that's kind of spinning kind of funky and see if I can just, you know, pull it apart, put some new bearings in, and maybe that'll be a quick, easy fix. Or if I have to order a whole nother rim and combo and everything like that from China. So we'll see. All right, so by the time I jump to the next clip, it'll be another day, and we'll be looking at the main cavity. There we go.